Rejoicing SLA, Language Learning and Teaching. Researchers who have been working on this particular phenomena, which is second language acquisition, they believe that being elusiveness phenomena, difficult to cover, difficult to achieve all aspects of second language acquisition, since it is still a new domain, still in its infancy. Reason is that it comprises of so many methodological and theoretical problems. Since it is based on lot of theories and approaches, therefore it's difficult to pinpoint a particular approach, a particular theory which can cover all the aspects of second language acquisition. Therefore, we see that in terms of developing mechanisms, especially the cognitive mechanisms or social mechanisms, there is a huge variation and huge diversity in terms of understanding different methodologies and different theories. So the process is highly complex. Second language learning refers to the kind of learning which takes place after the first language is acquired. So a learner has acquired all the grammatical rules of his or her first language, and then he or she is exposed to second language, which has completely different set of grammatical structure. First language has been acquired, and then this is about the second language. And then in order to learn, teaching is involved. Teaching over here is proposed to be in the form of guidance, in the form of facilitation, and should set the conditions for learning. How to go about it? So this takes us to a next level or a step further and understand the strategies that teachers use for the learners, and the learners need to develop those strategies to have a meaningful or effective language learning. Now, language learning strategies, the key name in this area is Rebecca Oxford, who defines strategies as actions or behavior that one uses to learn. Now, according to Oxford, successful learners are the ones who use strategies which they feel appropriate to their learning goals, needs, also the appropriacy of material that they are using, and by determining all these factors, they can have a very successful learning outcomes once these strategies are used. Now, she proposed strategies which are cognitive in nature as well as social in nature. So let's discuss these language learning strategies. The first is memory strategy. People who adopt the memory strategy depend on their memorizing ability. They find ways to remember better to aid in entering information in long-term memory by creating a word meaning map in their brain, that is mental linkage, and then being able to retrieve that information. Adopting this strategy will allow the learning and retrieval via sound, that is rhyming, images, that is mental pictures, a combination of sound and image, that's a keyword method, body movement, that is total physical response, mechanical means, that is flashcards, or location, for example on a page or blackboard. So that is how you use the memory strategy. Then the cognitive strategy. People who adopt the cognitive strategy tend to analyze and reason out things. They form internal mental codes and revise them to receive and produce the message in the target language. Adopting this strategy will enable one to internalize the language in direct ways, such as through reasoning, analyzing, note-taking, summarizing, outlining, practicing in naturalistic setting, and practice structure and sounds formally. Then we have comprehension strategy. People who adopt the comprehension strategy find themselves guessing unknown words when listening and reading. They also try to replace words they do not know with longer phrases or other words that they know when speaking and writing to overcome gaps in knowledge. Then we have metacognitive strategy. People who adopt this strategy, they plan, arrange, focus, evaluate on their own learning process. They identify and monitor their own learning style preferences and needs, such as gathering and organizing second language material, arranging a study space and schedule for second language revision and learning, and monitoring their errors made in the second language. Now, language teaching. It cannot be defined apart from learning. Teaching is basically a process of facilitation and guidance. One's understanding of how the learner learns will determine one's philosophy of education, the teacher's teaching style, his or her teaching approach, methods, and classroom techniques. If you viewed second language learning as a deductive rather than inductive process, you will probably choose to present copious rules and paradigms to your students rather than let them discover those rules inductively. A theory of teaching in harmony with our integrated understanding of learner and of the subject matter to be learned will definitely point the way to successful procedures on a given day for given learners under the various constraints of a particular context of learning. So, a deep understanding of learners and their learning needs is key to develop appropriate lesson plans for teaching second language to make the second language learning conducive. To conclude, learning a language occurred after one has acquired the first language, and teaching of language required the best teaching approach and classroom techniques that meet the needs of the learners.